Welcome back. I am the Watch King. On this video, we're making a video review on the 1603. We're going to be going through the entire thing. I recently made a video about the 1601, and now we're doing the 1603. Basically the same watch, but I'm going to bring up some things that I did in that video and some new things. So stick around. Let's jump right into it. First thing I want to say is I'm going to go through a quick review. Then I'm going to talk about other options, right? I love the 1600 range. Do not get me wrong. The 1600 range is basically everybody's way into the Rolex Datejust. It's one of the most affordable ways to get, or excuse me, not even Rolex Datejust, all of Rolex, right? It's the most affordable way to get into Rolex at a 36 millimeter level most of the time, right? It's almost 99% of the time. There was a lot of production and so forth. So we're going to hop into this exact one right now, but stick around for a couple other cool watches that are going to come out. So first of all, it doesn't contain its original bracelet. I have it on this strap. I really like it. Maybe you disagree, but it's leather with this nylon, almost, they use these for NATO straps. So really cool. I think it's a cool contrast with the watch, right? It's supposed to be a dressy watch, full leather strap, but then you have this little NATO. I think it makes it way sportier. But putting that aside, the actual case itself, so it's all stainless steel, including the bezel. That's the difference. 1603 means the engine turn. 1600 means smooth, and then 1601 means fluted. That's just white gold. The other two are stainless, or like this one in the smooth, right? So what we have is a 36 millimeter case, twin lock crown right there. As you can see, twin lock crown, you open up, unscrew, you have one position, right? There's nothing else. You can wind it technically. So there's two positions. You have winding, and then you pop out the crown. Let's just make sure it's there we go, popped out. Then you change the time. It actually turns, let's take a look at midnight, exactly at midnight right there. And then it turns over. So, extremely nice in there, and then you can always bring it back right there. Really, really great. This particular one is running perfectly. Just came back from service from the watchmaker. The client I chose to buy it from got it serviced before selling it, but he didn't want to polish it. He told me that he likes all the original dings and all that. It tells a story, and I can understand that. So I just think that's and I always leave it up to the customer itself, right? It's up to your choice if you want it polished. I think it looks great polished, but even like this, because it's so old, it's definitely, and it doesn't take away from the watch. But continuing on with the dial, all 11 lume plots are intact here. Excuse me, not on this one, right? We have everything except for that 10 o'clock. So oftentimes, it is the case where a watchmaker, it's typically the watchmaker's fault that he doesn't store the dial properly when he takes it off. And I was mistaken that the 10 o'clock is on this one, came off. You can see the spot where it is, but that is not a huge deal. Oftentimes, like on my day date, which I have listed in the store, almost every lume plot is off. So it's just a small detail. Depends on the collector if they want them all intact or not. It doesn't add significant value to the watch or decrease the value. It's just one of those things that they have. But the lume plots that are remaining all match with the hands. These are the original tritium hands with the watch. We need to talk about the date because it's important. This one is 1968. Why is the date important with the 1601 range? It ran all the way till 80. Well, I'll tell you right now, because in 1970 to 72, most cases say 72, Rolex never actually left any information on this out on the internet. They added hacking to this existing movement, right? This particular one doesn't have it. I don't think it makes a huge difference. You're not buying this to tell the time anyway. Most cases, I do it to tell the time roughly, but if it's like 10 seconds off because I couldn't hack it, that's also a case. There's a way to back hack it also, but very few times people really do that. On Rolexes, it's extremely hard. It's most cases on like Seikos and stuff. But if you go sometimes, not on this one because it just got serviced, But sometimes when you go back, it kind of stops the second hand, mostly on older Rolexes and such like that. But this one, as you can see, it's not doing that. Even if you go quickly. See how I did it quickly? Kind of stops for just a second. Very hard to get it to the exact second. But oftentimes, you don't need the exact second, especially in my daily life. I'm not using it for the exact second, mostly the date, and that I've said in many videos. But enough with the rambling. This concludes the actual review of the 1603. So now continuing on, we're going to be talking about other watches, right? Now, what I mean with other watches, I just think there's so much more value. It is technically more money, right? 100% more money to do it than this way. There is another option I could talk about. I could grab it. Actually, I'll just pull up a picture of it. There's a 6567, I believe is a reference. I'll put it up on the screen. And that one's actually more affordable. It's slightly smaller though. Let's say you're dead set on 36 millimeters. I know a ton of people that are dead set on 36, right? So we're going to talk about the first option. First option, number A, is it's slightly more money. Yes, you get a bracelet though. The best condition oval link I've ever seen, ever. Extremely nice. You have a pretty, I mean, all the parts are original, but unfortunately somebody painted the dial. I wouldn't have done that myself personally. I don't do that to original pieces, but somebody already did that, and it actually is advantage for whoever doesn't, I mean, whoever buys it, because if this watch was without the painted dial, it would have been a lot more money, right? This incredible fluted bezel, of course, twin lock crown, and this particular one's from 1958. Even though we don't have papers, the case backs on these actually set a date, which is pretty interesting. USA made bracelet. Look how tight this bracelet is, right? It does stretch a bit, but they all do. Like this, how it comes factory, and this is extremely tight. He only wore it a few times, painted it, and then the polishing is pretty much perfect. It's really, truly almost an unworn watch. He apparently only wore it a few times, but enough to actually change the dial, right? So then we go to our other option, right? Compare these bracelets, both over the link. Of course, the 14 karat makes it easier to stretch. This one is a stretch out bracelet, but you have to remember it's a very long bracelet also. This has a ton of links on it, so it can fit up to like an 8-inch wrist, right? This option, same dial, same silver dial. The dial on these, though, are not Pi Pan, which you see on the 1603 there. So that's just something that they updated. But the bracelet, they didn't update this year. This was one of the first years of it. Quick set date, quick set, I should say. Date. So that's what it is. Super easy, simple to use. And there you go. 8. Then you can go 9 and then all the way through, right? That is such an added luxury in a watch, and it's so painful because I had to go through some of the dates just to show somebody, or just to, I always like timing it, even though I put on a time grapher, right? But for myself, I had to go through a bunch of dates when buying it, and it is such a nightmare. Imagine you leave it for, quite a while. You have to go through all those dates, and it is such a pain. But when you have something like this, a lot easier, and you get the upgrade of bimetal, right? Two-tone. So a lot of people like that. Some people actually prefer the steel. Some people pay more for stainless steel watches. Just look at the sports models, right? But another option. And then that wraps it up. I mean, I think that covers what I think about it. I think that these two, maybe not so much the two-tone, right? Let's say you even have a steel. I just like to throw in the two-tone because it's another option. A lot of people consider it an upgrade, right? Which they rightfully should, because you're adding precious metal. But the bracelet is a bit stretched, as they all are, right? From USA made. But these two, how can you not say, okay, there's value in paying more for this watch, right? And I guarantee you that nobody else has a watch like this, right? Nobody. You walk into a vintage room, you walk into anywhere, and I'm saying that because of the dial, because of the bracelet condition right now. But even if the bracelet stretches out over time or whatever, nobody has this type of watch compared to 1603. You can walk into a watch event, everybody's wearing a 1600. Very few people are wearing a 6605. So that's my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Have you had a 6605? I want to hear from collectors who have, or are you dead set on 1601? And rightfully, there's a community there too. So let me know, and I will definitely catch you in the next one. Have a great day.